Good morning. It is a fascinating contest here, and one analyst actually described it as a bit of a cliffhanger. The Ryan electorate is a safe Liberal seat. It's long been Liberal heartland for many years. Labor has only won it once, and that was at a by-election in 2001 before the LNP wrested it back. But this time, Labor's Peter Cossa and the Greens' Elizabeth Watson-Brown are targeting the seat in a three-way contest. Issues such as climate change and action on a federal integrity commission are front of mind for some voters here that I've spoken to this morning. And just a few weeks ago, former Prime Minister John Howard campaigned here along with Julian Simmonds, the local member, who holds it with a margin of 6%. And we saw just a few days ago the Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk also join Anthony Albanese in this seat. And the Greens' vote is on the rise in a number of inner Brisbane electorates.
Queensland is always really interesting to watch on election campaigns and really important. How critical is Queensland this time around?
Well, Queensland was pivotal last federal election. The LNP secured 23 out of the 30 seats here. Labor had 6, the Catters had 1. And so it will come down to Labor trying to make up ground in these seats, as well as the LNP trying to defend the seats that they have. And some of the seats to watch include Ryan, Griffith, which is in Brisbane as well as the seat of Brisbane, plus Leichhardt in the far north Queensland. And analysts we've spoken to say that it does feel like a different election this time, and it'll come down to a handful of seats to watch.
Let's turn to Katrina, who joins us now from Rockhampton, the seat of Capricornia, which sits right on the border with the seat of Flynn. Katrina, what makes these two seats interesting to keep an eye on?
Good morning. Yes, they are two key seats. As we just heard at the last election, Queensland was really key in delivering that LNP victory. A lot of these regional seats, Labor voters turned away from the party over coal and climate policy, and that really happened in Capricornia and Flynn. In Capricornia, there was almost a 12% swing to the LNP, and it's currently quite a safe seat. It's held with more than 12%. And then in Flynn, there was a 6% swing there, and that's held with a margin of more than 8%. But Flynn is quite interesting because the long-term member Ken O'Dowd for the LNP, he is retiring. So it's really firming up as a race between the Gladstone former mayor for Labor, Matt Burnett, and the former state LNP member for Callide, Colin Boyce. So they're two really, big figures in the region, and it'll be interesting to see whether those voters that did turn away from Labor last election, if they'll return to the party. Obviously, there is a lot of coal mines in the Basin Bowen in both the seats of Flynn and Capricornia, so they really will be ones to watch.
You've been on the road for the past 6 weeks talking to voters. What are they saying about their outlook for this election?
It's a real mix of views in these two seats. Some key issues like the rest of the country include housing, the increasing cost of living. Trying to get employees and retain employees in these regional areas is, of course, very tricky. But also that issue that popped up last time for the 2019 election is still very much part of discussions, and that's looking at the coal industry and how the jobs there in that industry, which is quite big here, and how that fits in with the push for renewables and those net zero emissions targets. So those are some of the kind of key issues in these areas that voters have been chatting to us about.
Katrina Beavan in Rockhampton and Kate McKenna in Brisbane, thank you both.